Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, this is Marie with Modern Day Vet Podcast, where we bridge the gap between the military side to the civilian sector. This is season 2, so it's episode 1 of season 2, and we're going to start out with a bang. We're going to start out with an interview of a long time. It's been years. It's been probably over 14, 15 years that I have known this person. So I'm going to turn it over to her so she can just kind of introduce herself briefly, and then we'll kind of go through questions and have like a nice little conversation, and we'll go from there.
Hi everyone, my name is Akira Sabatini. Maiden name is Akira Wyatt. I am a United States Navy veteran. My job was a hospital corpsman. I'm a immigrant. I migrated to this country at 15 years of age, went to the whole college, and then basically enlisted in the United States Navy.
Okay. You're all quiet show your personality, girl. You got some personality. Stop. It's been years. So I know when we first joined, you were, what are you comfortable speaking about? Let's go there. Let's start there. What are you comfortable speaking about?
I'm comfortable speaking about pretty much everything.
Everything. Yeah. So did you have a surgery?
I'm castrated. Let's say that.
Okay. So let's get into the questions and we'll get into there. Okay. So yes. So when we went to A school, which is pretty much, I'm about to break shit up in here. We went to A school, which is pretty much like, you could say it's like a schooling after boot camp. If you weren't in the Navy, I don't know what the other branches call it, but, that's where I met Wyatt, which is the maiden last name, because we call everybody by their last names in the military. And I still have a very bad habit of even calling my closest friends by their last names. So I will never forget, they would do attendance, which is what civilians call it. Muster is what the Navy calls it. And every time they would call Wyatt's name, she'd be like, Wyatt. So I would never forget. She's just somebody that you wouldn't forget. However, at the time when we were there, it was Don't Ask, Don't Tell in 2011. And I think while we were in A school, or pretty shortly after, probably 2012, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act went away, which pretty much just meant you couldn't be openly gay, bisexual, lesbian in the military. You were going to get kicked out the military if you were. So once that act was kicked off, then you could be openly gay in the military without risking being kicked out of the military. So speak a little bit about that, because I'm not sure which year. We might have still been in A school. We might have been finishing A school. How did that affect you coming in? It's a sticky subject, but we'll get into it, and I'll let you explain the situation more because it's your life story.
Okay. So I joined the Navy in February of 2011, and I went to boot camp. So while I was in MEPS, I actually had to sign a letter stating that I am still under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I had to sign a letter saying that I was not going to, in a way, lettering was I wouldn't express my sexuality. And so I signed it, not, pretty naive back then and pretty just happy-go-lucky. So went in. Actually, I don't think I've ever hid myself. Never
No,
did.
You didn't.
And then no, I didn't. No, I never did, because I was just so happy to be, in a way, free, even though I signed up for like the first 5 years, to be free and just kind of like sit on my own. And first day boot camp, I had to do the whole P days for the whole week. get everything, all your stuff situated, uniforms. And I had my RDCs was two African Americans, a woman and a man, and then a senior chief. Um, it's funny because like, so the female RDC clocked me the first day because I this is what she basically came. I was standing at attention, and then she came to my side. And she's like, "I see those hips swaying." I was like, "Ooh." And then I think, but I wasn't the only one that was that was gay at the time. There was another one. We didn't really hide ourselves, and everybody just kind of got in the program of that we were just there, and we were trying something with our lives. So, and then when we got to A school, that was kind of the tail end of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, like October 2011 is when they started saying, hey, Don't Ask, Don't Tell will be repelled. You'll be basically good to go. It's just, fart like chocolates and rainbows. So, but I was still under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell while we were in A school. And I did get threatened once for being, yeah. It was just, I guess it was just pretty much just somebody not liking the whole thing. But I mean, we had so many like LGBT people in A school.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I was just
So I was like,
naive to the situation because I wouldn't say it didn't affect me, but I was 18, 19. So I was super naive about the situation. All I knew is that they stopped doing the don't ask, don't tell. But I mean, you never stop being you. So I didn't really see that it was actually like different. So, wow, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But how long did you serve? Because I'm not sure. How long did you do?
I did 10 years and just a couple months.
Okay. So we did around the same time. So I can't remember the year. I am really bad with years, but I think I was stationed in Chicago at the time. And they started bringing in doctors that were doing the surgeries, the sex change surgeries, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, I don't know, 2015, 2014. I'm not sure when they started doing it. Did you try to pursue to have the surgery while you were in?
No, I think for a lot of us, I think it's just too risky.
Mm-hmm.
Some will go all the way, but I had to go through therapy just to kind of make sure that it was something that I wanted to do and it's something that I was willing to go through. But as far as being trans, and I could pretty much speak for the majority of trans people, as far as our transition, it's the end goal is not necessarily surgery, bottom surgery, not necessarily, because with today's medical advances, it's not there yet. And so a lot of us will get up to the end of doing the hormones, the therapy, maybe a top surgery, and doing little knickknack surgeries here and there, just to kind of feminize or masculinize a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where it stops for majority of us.
Okay. So when you were, well, obviously you're a veteran now. Does the VA, do you feel like the VA, like, I wouldn't say assist, but I can't think of the wording. Like, do you feel like they are pro transgender? I don't want to use that word because I don't want to get like too political, but do you feel like they're helping you? Like, do you take hormones?
Yeah, so hormones is for life until I die. So I've been in hormones since September 2014.
Okay. And that
So
will
I've
the
been
VA supply that or no?
Yes. So as 2019, 2020, the VA has approved it in their formulary for maintenance medication.
That is awesome. I didn't know that. That's really, really awesome. So, do you do the hormone therapy through the VA or do you do it through the civilian sector with your job's health insurance or anything?
No, I do it through the VA. So all my trans healthcare is through the VA, which might actually sound surprising to some people because I know we
That is
as vets have,
amazing.
we have a lot of horror stories with the VA,
Mhm,
which it's the majority are true. The majority are true.
mhm,
And so when I got out in December 2021, my first VA was California, which was, I mean, it's California.
okay.
And then my husband got orders to Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, of all
Mhm,
places. And so the VA there, I've had some, a little bit of a tough time there just because I mean I think it depends on the area too. On my
mhm,
case, it's there's a lot more you could say I would just say naive to the fact that people like me exist, you know,
mhm.
and that's where I'm gonna like leave that with.
Yeah. So, right now you're in New York, correct?
Yes, Rochester, New York.
So, is your husband still in the military?
Oh no, so he got out in 2022. So a
Okay. I was
year
about to
after.
say, what the hell is in Rochester, New York?
Mm. I mean, Rochester is because he's here from Geneva.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's where he's from.
Mm.
Is there a VA up there?
It's a, yeah, so actually we're just 5 minutes off of so we live in Canandaigua,
Uh huh.
um, right south of Rochester, and there's the big VA here actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, from your transition of getting out of the military, how would you feel like your transition was? For one, where did you transition out of? I think you said California.
Mm. Yes.
And do you feel like they were very supportive during your transition with whatever things that you needed? Because I think you said 2021. So, was that COVID?
Yeah, post COVID. I mean, everything was just starting back up or like lightly starting back up.
Hmm.
Um, I think my transition was challenging because I had to prioritize certain things.
Hmm.
Definitely, um, I was ready to get out. I think there was points in the last 3 years where I did some things and said some things, and I was in situations where I had to like stop and look at myself. I'm like, wait, you're not, you're not positive for this environment anymore. You're not helping whatever cause it is that Big Navy wants you to do.
Hmm.
And I was angry, very, very resentful and angry. Um, it wasn't because of Big Navy. It was because it literally is people that makes a place. And if you have a very challenging duty stations or duty station and the crew that you're with, if it gets too challenging, it definitely will definitely give you a bit of a. It's not conducive to your health really, mental health or anything like that.
Hmm.
So I prepared. The last 3 years, I prepared. I was angry, resentful, but I knew what I had to do, what I needed to do. I told myself, like, this can't be you for the next 10 years. You can't be a resentful sailor once you get up the ranks. You can't be like that because you're just going to be somebody who you hated because they did the same thing to you, you know? hurt people.
Hmm.
And I told myself, you know what? I need something else. There's got to be something out there that will be suited for me, that will be something that's for me,
Hmm.
you know. And so when I got out in California, we had to move 2 months later to Virginia. And I think that was what kind of broke the camel's back for me,
Hmm.
because not only did there was just a lot of things changing, and then I had to move because of the military, because now I'm a spouse.
Hmm.
Um, I told my husband that I need a year of a hiatus if he is willing to accept it.
Hmm.
So I was getting disability anyway, so financially we were good.
Hmm.
Um, a whole year, it felt like, when you're carrying so much stuff for so long, and instead of you just lightly putting it down, your knees just buckle and you're just under all this rubble, rocks, and you're like, what the hell happened? I thought I was
Yes.
carrying this. Yeah. And yeah, that whole year was rough.
Now,
I
is
started
your
becoming
husband?
okay,
Oh, sorry. Now, is your husband? Was he Marines or Navy?
Navy,
Okay, so you guys were in
always
Portsmouth.
sailors.
You're a mess. You guys. So, were you guys in Portsmouth or in like a ship, a clinic?
He was stationed in Virginia Beach in
Okay.
Oceana. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I thought I heard good things about that place. I guess not.
It depends, I guess, where you're at.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So no. So
Uh,
Virginia didn't do you any well.
no, I think for the longest time, East Coast was something that I've never really imagined being there,
Hmm.
being here, just because I was 10 years in Pendleton. That's something as not many sailors can say.
Yes, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
And would you say you were resentful because you were green side the whole time? Did you get a chance to experience blue side at all?
Um, Maybe like a clinic, but I requested to be. So I was in the schoolhouse for School of Infantry. I was at that
Okay.
clinic,
Mhm.
but I requested to be with the Marines, basically just with School of Infantry and be their
Mhm.
corpsman. Um,
Okay.
I had a little taste of the blue side, but not real blue side like hospital or on a ship. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to, because that was the time when I was transitioning. Like I started my
Hmm.
transition. There was not a lot of laws. So I wanted to be out of the limelight. Basically, I was wanted to be with the Marines, so nobody knew what I was doing. I was just doing what I do best, and then I didn't
Hmm.
want to have to do with the politics of it all, and I just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Not really, but yeah, the whole 10 years was Greenside, but
that's crazy.
I don't think the resentment was because I was Greenside. I loved
Hmm.
it. I really did. I mean, it's old now, but the knees are cracked, the shoulder.
So
No,
am I.
no, I've had a pain in my shoulder for a whole week, and I'm like, "God."
Oh my gosh. That was
I'm
me
like,
earlier. I'm like, did I just sneeze and crack my shoulder? Like, what happened? I'm
look at me
32.
here and crack. And it's like, oh, what's that?
So I like try not to move too fast because it's bad.
No, I know. Just go to work, watch some TV, eat, and go to sleep.
Literally. Where
That's
do
it.
you work at now?
So I work at University of Rochester as a
Okay.
junior systems and analyst.
So have you
Uh,
used any of your benefits already? Like have you used a GI Bill or you're kind of leaving it alone?
I am about to use my voc rehab for
Okay.
nursing.
Okay, so I am in vocal rehab right now, but I feel like my guy is not being supportive. Hopefully he doesn't. I mean, he won't see my videos, but I feel like he's kind of pushing social worker. Like he's kind of pushing social worker on me, and I'm like, they get paid like 30,000 with a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, and it's a tough job because I
Yeah.
did a 6-month contract here for addiction program.
Okay.
It was tough. My first week, I had 60 cases of people,
Oh my god,
60 cases, and I
that's
was like, what
horrible.
the? But uh, but I definitely learned a lot of stuff. But regarding your question about like resentfulness and being angry,
Mhm.
um, I wasn't angry because I was queen side. I was angry because as soon as I stepped in the role or I became a sailor, there was a lot of unexpected bombardment on what I was.
Mhm.
When we were choosing orders in A school, some of the guys have told me like, because I was looking at being a Greenside Corpsman, 8404, and I was like, and I wanted to be that. It
Mhm.
wasn't something my first choice, but I was like, you know what, try it. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
That could happen. And you know, even the I think he was HM2 and he was like, are you sure you want to do that? I was like, I don't know what I don't know.
Mhm.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And the guys that I went to Pendleton with, the group, I was already an outcast. All the guys that wanted to do all this, oh, I'm Greenside, da da da, all that stuff. They've already had a group, and I was already outcast. And we went through FMTB, we went through all the trainings to get before we got to our units.
Mhm.
I was, like I already knew that I'm not welcome here, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show these boys how I'm gonna PT. I'm gonna out PT all y'all and do my best as I can. Because
Mhm.
at that point, I still had a very naive view of how people saw people that were different.
Mhm.
I mean, I was fresh from another country who over there, we're not as hateful as we're here.
Mhm.
Um, my first my first check in division in Margarita, I think it's 33 area Margarita, and the HM1 there who just came back from Afghanistan. I had my little cute little glasses on, and then I had my blueberries.
Oh my
It was like
god.
I was checking in. I was like, I am checking in. As soon as he heard my voice, every
He was
guy in
upset.
that room was like, "What? What is this? What is this? What is this? Why are you talking with your hands?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "God, I don't know." And then, a lot of them really. It was just a man's man, a good old boys kind of environment, and I definitely had to tough it out. But my first unit, when I checked into one, I the first month I was basically jumped near barracks, just some randos. And then I found out later in training they were in my unit. I kept that to myself. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I kept a lot of stuff to myself throughout my career, especially the first 5 years.
Mhm.
Um, and I was the first 2 3 months at that unit was rough. I was just like in my HM3s at that time, HM2s, that joking bulliness
Yes.
is, and then people just watch in the sidelines and you're just like, I know if I react, you're just gonna do it more. And if I don't
Mhm.
react and play stupid, I hope you just, you know, leave me left alone. but
Yeah.
never stopped. And actually, it was like a month before we had to deploy. I committed suicide. Girl, I jumped.
Oh my
It might
God.
be funny right now, but girl, I jumped. I was like,
What did you jump off of? I did not know that you tried to commit suicide.
yeah, I was at the barracks at the old hospital.
Okay, in Pendleton, those crusty
Yes.
ass barracks. I've been there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my
I only
God.
had because I had a friend there that I went to course school with too. I don't know if you still remember him. Solitario, the Asian one.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Solitario was put there, so I went there a lot, and
Uh huh.
things happened, and because I was expressing some of the stuff that was happening to me, but I felt like I never it wasn't. It was just like no one really knew how I really felt,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically kind of like chucked it, and it just bit me in the ass, to be honest. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm done.
Did they give you any counsel? Well, you were in a Marine. So for anyone that doesn't know, Navy works really close with Marine if you're in the medical field. So the Marines don't have any type of medical job modality. I don't know what they're called. But they have, if they need medical, it's Navy. So there's Navy. So you do your Navy training and then you do an extra training to work with the Marines, which is like physical stuff, combat, medical combat training and stuff like that with them. So that's what we call green side is with the Marines. And I was more blue side because I never worked with the Marines. I worked directly with the Navy. However, I'm not a real Navy sailor because I never touched a ship. I was only on hospitals and clinics. I mean, I went overseas and I went to Bahrain. But for the old schoolers out there, I'm not a real sailor because I did 10 years. I wasted 10 years of my life on land. Like I never touched a ship. So that's when we say green side and stuff. So would you say that the Marine side, did they help you mentally? Like after you committed suicide, did they try to help you? Oh, okay. That's just
Sure,
great.
they broke me. The fun-loving, like free-spirited that you knew before going to where I needed to go, they broke me. Like now, the way when I talk about it, I always laugh because you didn't know what you didn't know back then. Yeah, you don't know what
Mm-hmm.
you don't know, and I definitely was ill prepared. I definitely just climbed up to the world and then had that persona. And I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of veterans definitely, agree to that and have some type of outside persona because I don't know how it is for a lot of people, but it's tough when you're raw
Mm-hmm.
and people can see you raw,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of who you might be and showing that like rawness. There's just malicious people out there, regardless. There's going to be malicious people out there. And then once they sniff that, they don't care if you're their brother or sister,
Mm-hmm.
they will come for it, you know? And yeah, they did not. Um, I actually got admitted to Fort North because I started
Okay.
drinking heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for everyone, Fort North is in San Diego Balboa. It's
Yeah.
inpatient. Um, I got admitted there for about 2 weeks, involuntary, because I was right after my incident. I would come to work very, very intoxicated and didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I tried acting like, oh, hi, what's up? And they could
Mm-hmm.
smell it on my breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when it kind of just went downhill. Got impatient. And then one thing that did happen, I think, is either a saving grace or it's a double-edged sword, is that my lieutenant
Mm-hmm.
came to visit me because I told him a lie of why I um, basically, you would be the first one to hear this, to be honest with you. I told him a lie that I was rejected by a boy and I tried to kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got inpatient, I told him the truth that I was basically being bullied. I was just, I was just, hey, the F words and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I had a little bit of a courage to tell the doctors. And then my lieutenant found out that I lied to them. So we came to Fort North and pretty simple words. He asked me, it's like, hey, do you want to deploy or do you want to stay here? I was like,
Wow.
wait, okay. And I was like, wait. And he told me, I know you lied to us. I can't believe that you don't think we would protect you or we would have your back. I think
I've only been
that
bullied this whole fucking time. Like, of course I don't trust you
while
guys.
you guys
What the
while you guys are
fuck?
watching, so I took that deployment and as a saving grace in a way, but like I said, a double-edged sword because I could
Do
continue.
you feel like it was a saving grace? Like, I know you just tried to commit suicide. Yeah, I'm looking into the camera. Like, I know you just tried to commit suicide, but and you're in an inpatient ward for being intoxicated 24/7. But you know what? Why don't you go on a deployment?
Yeah.
This is exactly
Well,
why I started this fucking podcast. It's proof right here. Oh my God.
but in my situation though, because if I had stayed, I would have been kicked out and I would have been a piece of trash, basically, in some other units to take care of. And I've definitely seen how people that stay behind that are not their unit, they got treated. I've definitely seen that before, and it's really, really bad. And so I said, you know what? In my mind, it's funny because I would always say, what else what the worst could happen?
What else could go wrong?
else could go wrong? And then when I got there, people was weird. You usually would want to be sensitive to people when you hear something happen. But for me, it just felt awkward. I felt like stared at a lot. And, they were asking, and I was like, I mean, can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I was like, in my head, I was like, this motherfucker's want to say, how am I now? Motherfucker, for 2 fucking months, you've been looking at me like,
It's
now you want to say, how am I? And 2 weeks in, I got NJP.
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, they've learned NJP.
Jesus. Into the deployment?
Yeah, first 2 weeks, NJP. And that's when I learned my HM1 at that time was in a closet.
Which is don't need to be, but okay.
Yeah. And, knowing that I felt alone, he never came to just kind of be like, hey, I'm here too. Like we say, but, it's a different time frame of Sailor. He's been don't ask himself for a long time and he probably just got used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's when I learned. Yeah, he confessed and like, hey, I'm in the closet, because of you. I wanted to come out. I was like, what? What the fuck? I mean, like, in my head, I was like, what the fuck's going on? You know what? Let me just get through this deployment. It didn't go well for me. In that deployment, I started still drinking heavily, never talked to anybody, just kind of kept to myself. And I almost got, I don't know if you've heard of Hansen, Okinawa. So there's enlisted club in Hansen, Okinawa, little Marine base. And I would always be there every night. Everyone that knew me knew that I was going to be there until 2 o'clock and then go to work.
Oh,
There were 2 times where apparently it's documented, but apparently I swung at the OOD who is in the closet.
Jesus.
Who was in the closet? I found out that was in the closet.
I think
And
I just
then I
wiped
guess
off
I
my
called
eyebrow.
him.
I might have wiped off my eyebrow. You just made me wipe off my
Yeah. So, and I called him girl.
Oh
Girl,
my God.
I said, girl, shut the fuck up. While they were in uniform, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember. And then I swung at him, like trying to get because they were trying to get my beer and it was closing time.
Jesus.
And then the other one was a gunny or like whoever that was in my what's that? Platoon, not platoon, but my
I don't want to
shoot.
say squadron because squadron is the Navy.
I know. So, and I guess I did something with that too. To be honest with you, it was, if you see me, girl, you would have been like, and you are.
I mean,
You would have walked right past me and be like, I don't know her.
No, I would have grabbed you. I would have yoked you up. Like, let's go. Let's go. But now seeing these stories, and yeah, I didn't know all this that happened. And I'm really, really sorry that all that happened to you just because people just want to be malicious and they're just ignorant about change. Have you used any mental health things in the VA? Any services?
Yeah, the VA was definitely the VA here in Rochester in Canandaigua. They are actually really great. The one that I had when I had my hiatus, the one I used in Virginia, I really had a really great counselor, a psychologist and a psychiatrist too. Both my counselor and my psychologists they were great. And I'm really happy that I got those people. It's not, because a lot of other veterans get really crappy counselors, psychologists who just give them meds. But I felt that when I was with my counselors, the specific counselors, they really took care of me and listened, because I got to the point where I became very paranoid. I started doing drugs just to kind of numb everything. And I would not step out of the house more than 5 steps, because I felt like somebody was going to get me. It was all that anxiety that built up that I ignored. And
yeah, while you were in,
people are looking at me, man, paranoid. It was bad to the point that my husband would go to work, I would smoke. And then when he come home, I'd still be lying there. Like nothing happened. And that would be daily, because I couldn't face what was outside. Another change, another different life that I had to go through or had to figure out how to navigate. I couldn't. But the VA counselors, they listened. We had weekly sessions. I'm not necessarily a type of person that will, take a paper and, oh, let's do breathing exercise. I want to just talk and look at me while I'm crying, my snot all over the place. I'm just a mess, like, see, this is the pure me. This is the raw me. See it. And I just want you to see it while I'm in a safe place.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So I'm gonna close off from there. This is the purpose of the podcast. I'm not associated with the VA. The VA is not fucking paying me, even though y'all should. like this is really important, and I want us to build this community as veterans. Like we come out into the civilian sector, and some videos may not be so much about transition, but just a story of transitioning is rough. It's rough on all of us. It may not affect us all the same. We may think we're okay because we go directly into another job or directly into school and we think we're fine. And if this doesn't correlate with you, cool. Share it with someone that does, because it happens. Like it's rough. You may think somebody's having a okay time. I haven't spoken to you in forever. I didn't even know you were going through all these things. So just check up
Yeah.
on your people. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. So I just want to close out with that. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in.